Call this special meeting of Fayette County Commissioners to order. This meeting is for the sole purpose of deciding whether to award a bid on the county highway garage. We had a meeting for an additional appropriation for the council Tuesday night's meeting. We got turned down. So our decision today is whether to forego building a garage or to build a garage with what money we have left. And when we took bids the last time, we took 5 separate bids, one of which was for the whole building, which was originally designed, and then the other bids were with alternate one was to take off all the open storage, or the open on one side for the truck storage, and leave the firewall there so it could be added to. The second one was to delete all of that without the firewall, which would mean if you added to that building, then you're probably going to have to put a firewall at that time, which will be harder and more expensive to do. Then we took alternate 2 was delete the open area and 25 foot of the shop, and alternate 3 was delete the open area and 50 foot of the shop. With what money the council has appropriated and what has been spent taking tests and getting the building drawn up twice, we've got $587,325 left, plus or minus off of that this $10,000 to Maze Construction for drawing up the second set of plans with the alternates in it. Leaves us $577,325. If we look at all the bids we have, what we can afford with this money is a bid from Maxwell Construction for option 2 or alternate 2, which is deleting 150 foot of the open area and 25 foot of the shop, which will leave you a 70 by 125 foot shop. We've been or I anyway, have been 4 years trying to get a garage built, and my 2 associates here have been 2 years we've been working on this project and continually getting turned down. We've got a building down there that's not in good shape. We haven't been, to prove our point, we've had to get a structural engineer to look at it, and that's part of the money we've had to spend to state that that building is past repairing. And my suggestion is that we go ahead and take alternate 2, which is $547,045, I think. In time to come, it'll be realized that it's going to cost us more money in the long run. We are going to have to. It makes no sense to have all this equipment sitting outside. You don't see the farmers are buying big combines and big tractors and leave them set out in the wintertime. But the council, in its wisdom, has decided that this is all the money they want to spend. The sad part of this is, as bad a shape as the county is in, the CUME building fund that this money would come out of has right at $1 million in it. It replaces itself at $150,000 a year, and the only thing that can be used for is building and repairing buildings. So as far as the general fund and keeping the courthouse going and paying the employees, they can't use the money for that. So we have a hard time understanding what they're thinking on this. Be that as it may, it is what it is. Mr. Corm sitting out there, he in front of the council the other night, he told them what this is going to mean with our truck setting outside. when you get bad weather in the winter, they're going to be hard, not only going to be hard to start, other parts of the truck freeze up. It's going to make your response time longer. But we're doing, this is all we can do. So I can ask for comments from the other two, and I would entertain a motion that we accept alternate 2 and purchase the building from Maxwell Construction.
I would simply like to add to Commissioner Barker's comments that the commissioners have been diligent in trying to find some place to house the vehicles, someplace safe to house the vehicles and the employees, and conduct the county's business with the least amount of money. We were online to purchase a building, Mr. Lake's building, Lake Welding on the east side, for $575,000, which would have included a 30-ton overhead crane, plenty of office space, and conceivably we could have gotten all of our buildings inside, all of our vehicles inside the building and closed the door. The council first said they were in favor of that, a committee did, and then 2 of the councilmen decided against it. We've tried everything we can, and this winter, if you get heavy snow, when you drive by the county highway department, look at your vehicle sitting outside. 2 years ago, the county purchased 5 new trucks at the tune of approximately $140,000 apiece, for a total of $745,000. Those vehicles will be sitting outside, unprotected, freezing up. The existing building down there has every post rotting or rotted at the base. You cannot replace all the uprights and the cross beams, some of which you can stick a screwdriver through from one side to the other, because the wood is rotted. And it does not make sense, when we had the money to not build a building. It makes sense to build a steel building which has a longer lifespan. But the council has the final word on this. So we have X number of dollars to spend. So with that, Mr. President, I will move to accept alternate number 2, which is delete 150 feet of the open area and 25 feet of the shop, which will give the dimensions of the buildings at 70 feet by 125 feet for a total of $547,045.
Is there a second to that motion?
I want to make a comment.
Well, you can proper to just make the second, and then we can have discussion.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay. Is there any more discussion?
You don't need to discuss now?
Yep.
Okay. As I agree with the other 2 commissioners, and I've said it before, I've been in agreement to build a 70 by 300 foot building since we started this process. It should not take 4 years to build a building. It shouldn't, especially when it's falling down. We spent $745,000 on trucks. The difference to build a complete building to house every vehicle inside the building, the difference is $240,025. Now it makes fiscal sense to say, well, we're going to put vehicles inside a building to take care of them, or so they don't have mechanical problems. You have problems every year with the Gradall, don't you? Sitting outside that you have to fix. How much does a Gradall cost? A couple $100,000. So that now there's more money on top of that. So, with that said, I mean, everything's going to sit outside, and the council has done what it's done. Can't say that I agree with it. But like Mr. Barton said, that eventually somebody's going to come to terms with this and go, well, we probably should have built the building. But you know what? At the end of all this, the taxpayers are footing the bill for this. I mean, they're the ones that's going to have to pay for this later. And and the people who work at the shop down there, they're the ones that's going to have to every day. If we get a lot of snow, it's going to take time to clean trucks off, get going, and so on and so forth. I just can't see why we couldn't spend the additional $240,000 out of a fund that replenishes itself at $150,000 a year. So, you know, I'm disappointed in the decision of the council. But they ultimately hold the decision on that, and we are going to build whatever. Or we are going to build a building, no matter what. I hope it's enough for you guys. I'm sorry it couldn't be more, but our hands are tied. So I agree with alternate 2. And I made a second to that motion.
Okay. I have just a little bit more frustration that I have to vent before we vote. And it is frustrating. Like I said, I've been working on this for 4 years, and Mr. Bador and Mr. Jackson has been working on this garage for 2. The first of this year, things we couldn't seem to come to some agreement. I asked the council if they wouldn't appoint a committee to meet with me so we could come to some common agreement of what to do about this garage. I did meet with 3 of them. There's no need to mention which ones they were. But that committee, the 3 council members proposed to me that we buy Mr. Lake's building. That was their idea and not mine. Wanted me to negotiate with Mr. Lake. In order to buy Mr. Lake's building, or any existing building, we were required to get 2 appraisals. We did that at a cost of $3,500, which comes out of this money that they appropriated. And then 2 of that same committee went over to East Connersville talking against it, and then came in and told this commissioners that the only way they would give us any money, or appropriate any money at all, would be if we went down and built right where we are now. We had to take soil borings at 3 different places to find a place that we could build, and it's not an ideal spot. But at any rate, we are where we are. We have a motion on the second on the floor. If there's no more comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That's being the only matter we had before us this morning. I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. This meeting of Fayette County Commissioners be adjourned. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.